Soundstripe.
Hello, race fans. Welcome to the Hammerdown Time podcast. I'm Kelby Cross. It is Hammerdown Time. We are on Facebook at the Hammerdown Time podcast, Instagram at Hammerdown Time Pod. Catch us on YouTube and Rumble. We have a lot to get to on this fourth episode here, so let's dive right in. High Limit. On June 4th, which was not supposed to be the first race of last week as we covered, but unfortunately, the rain had other plans. So we saw them go to June 4th, which was Wednesday night at Red Cedar Speedway, which Rico Abreu continues to do big man things in that 24 car. He wins the third midweek series race of the season for that 24 team. Passed Larson on with around 14 laps to go, and then holds off Larson late, who Larson was trying to make a late race charge back through traffic, and because that's the only way National Series races get good. So Rico was able to hold on for the victory there at Red Cedar Speedway. Congrats to him. And June 5th on Thursday night at 141 Speedway, people are calling this the biggest upset in the history of sprint car racing, and I'm not going to say no. Travis Aarons, which, like many other race fans, was a name I had not heard before watching and tuning into Flow Racing on Thursday night. He picks up the win in the Race for Dean Foundation and pockets $26,000. He chased down Bill Baylog, the North Pole Nightmare, for the win, who's a legend in his own right, is Bill Baylog in that Wisconsin area, kind of the IRA stomping grounds. So passed him on lap 15, and in that 40-lap feature, he masterfully drove the bottom to the win, and Travis Aarons was making his high limit debut on that night on June 5th, and over the weekend made his first World of Outlaws starts. So a guy who only has 66 career 410 starts and 2 410 wins coming into the night, I would argue I would definitely hear the argument that this could very well be the biggest upset in sprint car racing history, especially 410 sprint car racing history. So good on Travis Aarons, and obviously, hopefully we see some more, success out of that guy. A rough night for the championship contenders at this midweek race. Tyler Courtney, who came in as the points leader, spun while in the top 5. He was also involved in another incident and ended up finishing 20th. Brad Sweet, who came in obviously in second, was involved in 2 incidences in this race. He ended up finishing 17th. So, rough night for those two guys. Kyle Larson and Joel Myers Jr. were the two guys who had their elbows all the way through the cage. Larson went from 21st up to 9th on this night. But Joel Myers Jr., California native, went from 24th up to 8th. So a big time night from Joel Myers Jr. in the high limit. Rico Abreu currently leads the midweek points over Aaron Reitzel, who's at -7. Brad Sweet at -8. Tanner Thorson at -10. And then Brent Marks a little bit farther back in 5th. But how about last night? The Eagle Nationals at Eagle Raceway. What a racetrack, by the way. Fantastic racetrack that has produced some high-limit instant classics. And last night was no different. $55,555 on the line for the win. And Buddy Kofoid and Corey Day, two guys who have pretty similar, kind of upbringings in, racing out in California, dominating the micro ranks, and then coming up and kicking some teeth in the sprint car ranks. Of course, Buddy's journey is a little bit different than Court. Obviously there are certain differences, but these two guys put on a show. Corey Day was driving his entire butt off. He gave it everything he had, ended up hanging it in the catch fence while battling for the lead with Buddy Kofoid. He may have even had the faster car. It certainly looked like he was, certainly had a car that was contending, and so I saw a Facebook post that is a quote that is attributed to Corey. It said, "I wasn't lifting. It's $55,555." So if that doesn't tell you, he was putting it all out on the line, that certainly should. As a big time Buddy finishes off the big win. The World of Outlaws, really the greatest World of Outlaws rookie ever, beats the High Limit after High Limit spent all weekend beating the World of Outlaws, with Rico Abreu and Brad Sweet putting the Outlaws on notice in Wisconsin. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Eagle Raceway needs more 410 sprint car races, whether it's High Limit going back there, or get the Outlaws out there. Man, what a racetrack. Brad Sweet leads the points by 10 over Tyler Courtney, who incredibly still has no wins, but is obviously the master of consistency and is running second in the High Limit points. Aaron Reitzel's at -13. Rico Abreu and Brett Marks are rounding out the top 5. Aaron Reitzel kind of silently, he's had a couple of high-profile wins, especially lately, but Aaron Reitzel is one that if he gets hot, he could certainly make this a 3-car race for the lead. So in the championship for the High Limit Sprint Car Series. Up next for the midweek series is June 25th at Lake Ozark, and then June 26th they'll be at Lucas Oil Speedway, and then they'll finish out the weekend with the the regular full season championship on June 27th to 28th at Lucas Oil Speedway for the Diamond Classic for the High Limit. And with that, we'll move out west. Silver Dollar Speedway had a full 410 slate this past weekend, and Justin Sanders was not to be trifled with as he wins the Brownell Herseth Classic. From the pole, Dominic Scelzi was second and DJ Neto third. The David Targer Memorial on Saturday night saw more of the same. Justin Sanders put on an absolute clinic. Justin Sanders, the bullring bullet, if you will, puts on an absolute clinic. DJ Neto is able to take second, Shane Golovic in third, Dylan Bloomfield in fourth. Dominic Scelzi had a very nice run from 15th up to 5th. I'm going to say that, this was a strong case for inversions. And, if you know me, you've heard me say that a lot before. Sanders is from the pole in Northern California, from the front row, rather, because he started on the outside of the front row on Saturday night. It's just a recipe for the typical fast guy runs away from the field while we stare off into space as race fans. And, so on a regional basis, I submit we scrap the dash and, start the fast guys like 8th to 12th. And I think that would be a good way to get some good racing, especially at a place like Silver Dollar or, Placerville, for example. Both places that, can be very, very racy joints. I think that those two places in particular, along with, just kind of having that in the format, the NARC format in particular, that would make for some better racing. Like it or not, passing is a part of racing. And with everyone supposedly having the same equipment, that's a stronger case for inversions because it puts, the drivers to the test. Can you actually drive your car? So, in conclusion, invert the feature. We'll get a look at the NARC points going into the fastest 5 days in motorsports, or not so speed week, as I have coined, because I'm creative. Shane Golovic holds a 4-point lead over DJ Neto Rookie Tyler Thompson runs third in the points. Bud Kading and Justin Sanders climbs back up into the top 5 in the NARC points. He is tied with Sean Becker. I know it's a little late, but, I'm still looking forward to Not So Speed Week, or the Fastest 5 Days. Southern Oregon Speedway is on June 11th. That's tonight as I'm recording this, and, I'm looking at a dash lineup. We will see them there, and so we'll have the full analysis and, kind of breakdowns of all these races going into next week, the next full episode. So tonight we'll keep an eye on Southern Oregon Speedway. Douglas County Dirt Track tomorrow night, June 12th. June 13th, Cottage Grove. Willamette on June 14th, and June 15th will be Grays Harbor Raceway. So lots of exciting stuff. Pretty good racetracks. Hopefully we get some good racing out of the deal. Justin Sanders and Dominic Scelzi kind of come in as the favorites, looking to add to their win totals in Not So Speed Week. DJ Neto is looking to get back into victory lane. James McFadden is going to jump right into the fray in the Tarleton Motorsports 21 car. Tanner Holmes will be back on his home turf. He will be back in his family car, which they have run and won in thus far this year. Tyler Thompson also looking to defend his home turf. Robbie Price and Trey Starks are gonna contend. Robbie Price is already on the pole of the dash with NARC this evening, so they're gonna contend for wins. I gotta say the most disappointing no trip up there this year is definitely Shane Golobic. No points leader Shane Golobic, and Shane is always one I've wanted to see win the NARC title. He absolutely has the talent to do so. He said it before, he just doesn't race for points, so that makes it even better that he's having such a good season thus far this year, and I just would love to see him remain in the points fight. So unfortunately, doesn't look like that's going to be the case. The Sprint Car Challenge Tour is running at Petaluma on June 14th. I remember a time when you could run both Sprint Car Challenge Tour and NARC and contend for both championships. Up in my neck of the woods, the ASCS Frontier Region made its season debut at Gallatin Speedway, and the Canadian sensation Kelly Miller became the winningest driver in the ASCS Frontier Region history. Garen Linder tried a couple of different lines but wasn't able to run down the 2 junior. Damon McCune had a season-high third. Joe Perry and Corey Wormling rounded out the top 5. Trevor Kirkland muscled his way from 13th up to 6th on a track where passing wasn't really happening. So that ruffled a little bit of feathers, I won't lie, but it was still cool. I was kind of watching him from the announcer's booth. I will say Gallatin Speedway has the best announcer's booth in Montana. You can see everything from it, and it's top notch. Windows are clean, and it's a very high quality facility there at Gallatin Speedway. 4th win in 5 races for Kelly Miller on the season at a track that the facility I just mentioned is great, but the track surface usually eats tires like an obese man at a buffet. So it was fairly easy on tires on Friday night. It was one lane down around the bottom, kind of like Electric City got a couple of weeks ago, but credit to Dave Weiss for trying something different. Hopefully we can see the Gallatin Speedway get racier in the future, because, really, that track, for my money, could be the best in Montana for sprint car racing if it gets to be even just a little bit racier. On Saturday night, we went to, right now, the title holder in for my money, the undisputed raciest joint in Montana. Rich Bailey put on an absolute clinic after Corey Wormling falls from the lead with mechanical issues. Wormling took the lead early, and Kelly Miller and Rich Bailey were duking it out for a second on the extreme high, which is where Bailey was, and then Miller was on the extreme low line of the racetrack. And so that was fun to watch those two, battle it out side by side all the way around the Electric City Speedway. Then Corey Wormling fell out, so that kind of became the battle for the lead for a little bit, but then Rich Bailey just ran away, and it was over. Joe Perry was at 9th to 3rd for his third rod and hard charger of the season. Garen Linder 4th, and Trevor Kirkland in 5th. Very reminiscent of the Bailey brothers' Speed Shop win, the 0-1 win last year at Electric City Speedway. And if you want to look at that, here's what we call a shameless plug. If you want to go watch that race, go check out KGC Announcing Services on YouTube. And a really good recovery for Rich Bailey, after a kind of rough start to the season. Speaking of the ups and downs of dirt track racing, the announcer's jinx definitely got cruise rigging. Let me know what you guys think about announcer's jinxes. I think they're absolutely real because I've done them like a few times. You go and you try and shout somebody out for, oh man, it looks like they're getting back on track. That car is really fast tonight, and then lo and behold, they're, pulling off with mechanical issues. I've done that a few times actually, in just a few years as an announcer. So, but another driver who I want to shout out tonight, shout out from the weekend, is Sean LaRock, winning on Saturday night at Electric City Speedway in the AMON division. If I was allowed to root for a driver, it would be Sean LaRock. Absolutely. It seems like the more time someone has in this, industry, the more cool stuff they have to say. And Sean gave me, was gracious enough to sit down with me with his, family in the background and gave me a very good interview after the fact on Saturday night. And he's certainly one that I would root for. And if you're looking for a driver to root for, look up Sean LaRock. And, he's certainly one that you should. For the ASCS Frontier Region, Kelly Miller lengthens his points lead to 63 points over Garen Linder, Joe Perry, Corey Wormling, and Trevor Kirkland. Kirkland still on a charge to remain in the points chase after kind of a rough start to the season. They blew an engine on night one at Big Sky Speedway, which is where the ASCS Frontier Region will be next on June 20th and 21st. Not great car counts this weekend for the ASCS Frontier Region. We're working on that, kind of a lot of behind-the-scenes work from John Youngquist in this regard, and obviously more cars make for a better show. So if you're in the area and you got a car and some time to travel, join us in Billings or wherever else you can hit an ASCS Frontier Region race. We'd love to have you. As for me, that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I'm Kelby Cross. This has been the Hammerdown Time Podcast. We'll see you at the races. Hammer down.